Welcome to JHart Modelworks. In this video we will be making some sun visors for the Lamborghini Miura SV by Hasegawa. This is a really straightforward and simple process that you can use for pretty much any car that doesn't have sun visors already. Welcome to my workbench. Let's get started. Alright, before we begin, let's talk about our tools and materials. You need a hobby knife. I've recently switched to this Excel hobby knife that's got the tension nut on the back end. And I really like this because while I'm working with it, it doesn't work the tension nut loose, which sometimes was a problem with my old hobby knives. We're going to use a marking device. I'm going to use this fine tip permanent marker. You can use a pencil or a pen, whatever you got handy. I'm going to use some sheet styrene. This is just some 0.02 inch thick plastic sheet that I got from Amazon. It was pretty cheap. Comes like 4 sheets that are like 2 feet long. Tape, good old Tamiya tape, a measuring tool, which I like these metal rulers because you can use them as a straight edge as well while you're cutting. We may add some detail with just using some jewelry wire. If I use this, it's going to be to add just a little bit of metal to the end, just to add that look like it's got that metal post that the sun visor sits on. Got some super glue. Some good old-fashioned Bob Smith Industries Maxi Cure. Some sanders. I will be, of course, using my UMP thinning sticks. And, of course, paint and primer of choice. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. The clear part does have some real bad ejector pin marks. I sanded this a little bit so that it wouldn't be as glossy. To hopefully take a little bit of the distraction away when you're looking inside the kit, but there's still just some bad ejector pin marks. Not much I can really do unless I really want to sand a whole lot of the part, and I don't want to risk getting this too thin. But what we're going to do is we're going to start by placing some tape down on one side, and we're going to mark off this area for where the sun visor will sit. This isn't going to necessarily be the exact shape we're going to use for our sun visor, but it's just going to give us this area so that we're not, cutting or messing with this part too much. It's also easier to take measurements and whatnot when you've just got a piece of tape on your cutting board, as opposed to trying to measure curved surfaces on the clear part. So to start, we're just going to burnish some tape down in here, but you want to make sure that you get it nice and smooth. You don't want a big bubble anywhere. You also want to be careful with how much pressure you're putting on these glass parts. You don't want to bend and break anything. Then we're just going to go in and we're going to trace an outline. So that's just going to give us our starting point so that we know what the shape is going to look like, or we know what the shape of the glass part is that we need to cover. Okay, let's put our glass part back away. So now we can just be taking measurements and stuff straight off of this and not have to worry about messing up our glass. Alright, so the widest part of the sun visor area looks to be about 6 to 7 millimeters. And it's about 20 across. Now I'm going to subtract 2 millimeters because I want a little room on each side lengthwise, but I'm going to add a millimeter just to make sure that we extend over the lip a little bit. I'm going to start with a nice straight line here. We're going to mark off. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the 7 millimeters. And the way I do this is I make multiple marks off of the straight line. Then if you line all these up and mark across, you should have the same distance on each side. So just put a straight line here just to give me a starting point. Now we want to go about 18 mils. It gives a pretty good rectangle. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some detail. We're looking at some reference pictures. It does show there's a couple of notches where that rod goes. So that's going to be the basic shape of our sun visor. Then we're going to lay our template down onto our plastic. Bend it with our score and then bend it back, and that's going to give us a nice straight line on the bottom. For these little notches, I'm going to go ahead and just push all the way through. This is pretty thin plastic, so I can go ahead and push and get all the way through with one push. Just for longer cuts, it's easier to score and braid. You could also go ahead and not put a notch on one side. I'm putting a notch on this second side because that's the way the parts are on the reference pictures when I was looking online. They show a notch on both sides. And finally, we're just going to take our sander, straighten up our lines, and then round these edges off. That's going to be the basics. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and get some paint and primer on these. Alright folks, we're back from paint. I've found the easiest way to handle small flat parts like this is to just throw some double-sided sticky tape onto like the back of an Altoids tin and just use that to hold my parts. Not paint the underside, we're not going to see them anyhow. Looks like we're just going to add a little bit of detail here. Tiny bit of super glue, put it just on the edge. Cut off and grab just a tiny piece of jewelry wire here. And here we have our sun visors. Alright, and here we are with our visors installed, and our rear view mirror in place. And that looks quite good in my opinion. We have most of that edge gone for that front edge where that glass glues into the body. It adds just an extra little bit of detail. If you're looking inside the car, happen to decide to look up into the roof. So I think that looks quite well. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Also, feel free to leave comments, feedback, critique, or anything else in the comment section below. I enjoy interacting with all my viewers in the comment section and try to reply to all the comments I receive. If you want to catch future videos, please consider subscribing to my channel and make sure you click the bell notification icon so you can be notified when I upload new videos. As always, thank you for watching, keep modeling, and have a great day.